I'm out streaming.
Why? Nobody.
everybody's talking about. Forget Tom Brady's passing numbers. He's the GOAT because he was the best punter in the NFL. I take Johnny Hekker over Patrick Mahomes to be my quarterback any day.
Welcome to the No Punt Intended Sportscast with your host, Parody07.
That's absolutely right. I couldn't get the freaking transition right. Hang on. I'm not a bot. There we go. What's up, everybody? That's right. We are live streaming after many promises.
Welcome.
After many cut promises that I made at the end of videos and that didn't make the final cut. But by golly, we're here today and we've got an interesting one for you. We've got the NFL draft, ladies and gentlemen, and I could not be more excited about what's going on today. A couple reasons that I'm excited. Number one, the YouTube chat is in the top left. Hello, chat. Looks like we got a little bit of activity. What's up, CJ Racing? Good to see ya. It's just me right now, but I'm expecting the dogs to show up in the near future. Well, a lot of interesting things going on. So I might be a little bit behind. So I'm going to pull it up on my computer here. I'm sure the Bears have taken their time as far as determining who goes first. I believe the first pick is about to be announced right now. And it is Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears. Congratulations to him. And I'm going to do a little breakdown of what we got here. Caleb Williams. Let's see, I've got to go back and forth here. So what do we got here from Mr. Williams? We got a guy who's known for his ability to break pocket, to break contain, his ability to make throws off schedule, ability to, as you can see here, move around a pocket whether he's pressured or not, and to find the open guy. A lot of people are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, which I think is lofty expectations for the young man. However, his play style is very similar. So you can see here his strength, his ability to go off schedule, his ability to make plays from outside the pocket, and his ability to run but not use his legs for the purpose of running necessarily, but the purpose to buying time to find the open guy. So we've already got a guy on the board, so congratulations to Caleb Williams being the first overall pick, and that's what we got going on here. It's probably going to be a minute or two before we get the next pick. I was lucky to hear my hear my TV from where I'm at, to whether or not the pick was made. So thank you, Sick Edits HD, for the highlights, and we're gonna move back to the other screen here. I'll get it down by the end of the night, but so this is gonna be an open Q&A throughout the night. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask them. Feel free to put them in the chat, and we will address them as they come through. And I just wanted to check the chat real quick. So there's CJ Racing asks, what is Bo Nix's best fit, and where and when do you think he will go? I honestly, Bo Nix is really interesting. So Bo Nix to me is the high floor guy, right? He's the guy that of him, and that's about all he does. He hits his check downs, he hits the intermediate, he hits the open guy. Doesn't wow you with his arm, doesn't wow you with his athletic ability, but he makes the right play. He's not as mind heavy as I think Mac Jones was as a prospect, though most people think Bo Nix is a better prospect coming out than Mac Jones was. It's easy to say that now, but at the time it may have been a closer matchup than what most people think. Bo Nix to me is a second round guy this year, but it's entirely possible he could go as high as the early 20s based on how the rest of the board falls. But that's what we got going on with Bo Nix. I see him being a good fit as like a on schedule thrower. You know, I could see him playing well with good people around him. He's not really gonna maximize the pieces that you have. He's going to be, I think, a net neutral, and he will only be as good as what his coaches, coach him up to be. He could be a flop like Mac Jones was, but he gives me kind of, without the athletic ability of Alex Smith, kind of the guy that just takes what's in front of him and moves on from there. So that's kind of where I see him at this point. And before I get to the next question, let me make sure that nobody else has been taken yet. Let me... want to... oops, forgive me here. I am going through... So it doesn't look like anybody has been picked yet. The Washington Commanders are on the clock. We have about 3 minutes left. And that's where we're at there. Still no dogs here yet, but I will make an announcement when the dogs have arrived. Appreciate the immediate chatter. Always makes me happy. And what I'll try to do, I've got to find where my YouTube chat is in my browser here. But once I find it, there it is. Oop, it's not X out of it. All right. So I will put the last pick every time there's a pick because I don't have a way to put it on the screen otherwise. So round 1, pick 1, Chicago Bears, QB, Caleb Williams, USC. Very nice. All right, so we got our first pick. The pick is in for the Commanders. We'll see where they're going with this. And I will try to give a brief breakdown of what my players that are picked. I don't have as extensive as a knowledge as I did of last year's draft. I was very high on last year's draft because a certain player whose jersey I may or not be wearing right now was in that particular draft. So that's where we're at on there. And then from there we'll be looking to see who is picked. Okay, it looks like Goodell may be walking out to announce the pick here. They love to drag out these first round picks. They got to get their ad revenue. And here it comes. Mr. Goodell, as always, tradition, was booed on the way in. The 2024, the NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels, quarterback from LSU. Now, if you're unfamiliar with him, it's probably because you were sleeping under a rock this college season. This man is a dog. Let me tell you right now. Jaden Daniels is a gentleman who has dual threat ability. He is known for his running ability, but it's not a Lamar Jackson type running ability. It's more of a how do I describe it? Kind of like straight line speed, similar to oh, what's his name? Forgive me. His name escapes me right now. Colin Kaepernick. Kind of that long stride, long. But here's the thing: his check down is his feet. And what I mean by that is he's not somebody who's going to go through he'll go through his progressions, but once it's not what he sees he likes, he's not going to take the check down to the running back. He's going to take off himself, which for a guy in college, especially with his athleticism, that's a good trait to have, and it'll probably work on a lot of schools. But in the NFL, the average defensive player is much faster, much more physical, and he will have a harder time, I think, with the breakaway stuff. But I think he's still going to be a dynamic player. I think it's a perfect fit in that Cliff Kingsbury offense. One concern I do have for him is that his ability to slide is not really present on tape. He's somebody who has taken some hits, and he's not exactly built like Cam Newton. And even Cam Newton, though he was built the way he was, still had a shortened career because of how many hits he took. So this gentleman is going to have to learn how to protect himself, though the tackle was pretty much banned this year with the hip drop tackle rule. On top of that, thank you, Seminole Casino. This is exactly what we wanted to see. But this is a guy who is known for his deep ball, known for his ability to hit the outside. Doesn't have a lot of throws over the middle on tape, but what little throws he has on over the middle have been relatively solid. The LSU offense ran a lot of deep balls, a lot of deep fades, a lot of outside stuff, a lot of inside receivers fading to the outside corner, that sort of thing. So that's really where we're at on that sort of stuff. So this is where the Washington Commanders, with their new coaching staff, new ownership, is gone, and we'll see how it goes. So congratulations to Jaden Daniels, and we'll see how he does with NFL receivers against NFL defenses, because he had NFL receivers against the college defenses last year. So we'll see how that goes for him.
Oh, it looks like the Patriots picks in.
Heck yeah. Hey, we've got one of the dogs in town. And Where is it? There it is. Welcome to the stream, Mr. Hound. I am super excited to see you here. I was getting a little worried that I was being forgotten, but like you said, the pick is in for the New England Patriots. So finally, a relevant team to our podcast picking here. Yeah. And unfortunately,
I had to jump in quick.
Yeah, just to make fun of us when we take a tackle, right? So, yes. But hopefully this is like my predictions suggested. Hopefully this is Drake May, but we will definitely see based on what goes on here. But how you doing otherwise, buddy? Everything good?
Oh yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to see if the Chiefs pick and what they decide to do.
Yeah,
being late in a round is kind of, unpredictable.
Right.
So
yeah, for sure.
You can see.
Go ahead.
You see where the cards lie.
Yeah, for sure.
So
last I checked, the Cards are picking fourth, but we'll
whatever the Cardinals do determines what the Chiefs do. Everyone knows this.
Well, to be fair, whatever the pick is for the Cardinals will not be the exact same pick for the Chiefs. That is a guarantee.
That is true.
There are not very many guarantees in the NFL, but that is one of them. So we will see what happens here. I'm nervous. I really am.
Yeah.
If the pick is in, that means we're not trading it. So,
Yeah, I know, 'cause that's what everyone, there was a thought that they might.
right.
But
So I think, the three most likely players this is Drake May, uh, Joe Alt, a Notre Dame tackle, and uh, gosh, Marvin Harrison Jr. probably is the next one. All right, there he's walking
Okay.
up. Let's see what he has to say. The New England Patriots select Drake
Hey!
May. Let's go.
There you go. You got it.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. I don't know if you have the string up, Hound, but I've been doing a little. I found a channel that does some sick edits, and it's got by Sick Edits
Oh, yeah?
HG. Yes, sir. And
Ooh,
I've been
nice.
playing a little music. I don't know. You probably won't be able to hear it, but that's okay. So I'm gonna pull up a little bit of that. So my guy Drake May, this is a guy that's got Justin Herbert and oh gosh, what's the other guy's name? Oh gosh, I'm blanking on it. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. That's kind of the guy we're dealing with here.
Okay,
And
nice.
he is just such an interesting watch. So what you're going to see here from him is this is a guy that is played on kind of a lesser team. UNC has had some really good players over the past couple of years, but this is a team that's not been in the college playoff, not really been relevant other than being ranked for a handful of weeks during the season and then falling off due to everybody dropping his passes. So this is a guy a little different from Jaden Daniels in that he uses his legs to make plays. I mean, he does run the ball every once in a while, but his goal when he breaks contain is to throw the ball 9 times out of 10. This is also a guy that has the ability to make plays off schedule, a guy that has the ability to strong arm a throw without having the best base in place as far as his mechanics go. The mechanics have been kind of a hot topic as far as the digs against him, but there's nothing that's wrong with him, in my opinion. It's not something that's coachable or it's not like he has a lack of arm talent. It's not like he has issues throwing the ball or with arm strength or anything like that. All the God-given ability is there. It's just a matter of reining in some of the turnovers, even though he was one of the better ranked people as far as the turnover percentage goes. And somebody who just needs to learn to trust his offensive line a little bit. But the UNC offensive line is not going to have very many people drafted this year. Let me just put it that way. So
Yeah.
this is a guy that I'm super stoked about, and I couldn't be happier that I think, regardless of Robert Kraft's involvement, I think for them to make the pick, that means New England had a consensus on this, that this is the guy they wanted. Most likely this is the guy that will probably sit for a majority of this season, if not the whole season, and then from there we'll coach him up and we'll be good to go on that. So I'm super stoked about what's going on here. I've got to remember what to do first as far as clicking and that sort of thing. So there we go. I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah.
So you're got Caleb Williams going to from USC going to the Bears. You got Drake May going to New England and Jane Daniels going to the Commanders. Why don't you take a few moments to kind of hit on all three of those in your opinion and the fit and that sort of thing based on what your knowledge is?
Well, my knowledge isn't super high, but so far the draft's been going basically how most people have been predicting it for the moment. Caleb Williams, obviously everyone was pretty sure he was going number 1. That wasn't really a secret. So far it's been going pretty consistently. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see whether the Commanders are able to take advantage of Jaden Daniels' dual threat dynamicism.
I agree.
Because when you've got dual threat quarterbacks, sometimes uh like coachings can be very vital in how to balance that.
Sure.
So obviously very very talented. I trust the Commanders coaching staff? Not really. I don't even remember who their current coach is now.
Cliff
Who did they
Kingsbury's
hire?
Cliff Kingsbury's their offensive coordinator right now.
Okay, so maybe
Yeah,
like he's he's had some successes
he's
offensively.
and he's worked with other players that come from a similar mold as far as the ability to run with Kyler Murray, and that sort of thing. So I think this is a decent fit. I think Kyler Murray's running ability sets up a little bit differently than Jaden Daniels, because I think Kyler Murray runs to find an open guy and then runs as his check down, but Jaden Daniels kind of goes to his check down a little bit more quickly than I think other people do. But when you got dynamic speed like he does, and the ability to break one at any point, at least while he was in college against college speed, that's definitely something that you might want to take advantage of. The Cardinals decided not to trade out.
Yeah, they didn't trade. So are they going to pick the first wide receiver? Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And who'd they take? Did they take? They
took Marvin Harrison Jr.
Heck yeah! So we finally have
Yep.
a non-quarterback off the board. And again, I've got to figure out how I want to put together the music. Okay. All right, we got the music rolling. We have the highlights rolling, and now I can put it on the screen. Okay, so Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, son of Marvin Harrison, longtime Indianapolis Colt and Peyton Manning's best friend on the field. This is a guy that's got size, speed, athleticism, route running ability out the wazoo, about as perfect a prospect at the wide receiver position as you could possibly get. And I mean, this is a prospect that has higher grades just overall than players like Jamar Chase, coming out, players like last year, anybody that came out of last year's draft. Whether you want to talk about Zay Flowers or anybody like that. This is a guy that can do it all. This is your X receiver that you can move as a chess piece. He can work inside, he can work outside, makes the contested catches, and was successful against really big competition as far as playing against SEC teams in the Big Ten where Ohio State plays. So they had to play Michigan, which has got a really good defense the last handful of years. So congratulations to Marvin Harrison Jr. joining a revamped coaching-wise Arizona Cardinals that Kyler Murray now has a new target with Hollywood Brown going to the Chiefs, actually. So that's a good look for him there. Congratulations to him. His life has changed forever, and hopefully Kyler has time to get him the ball, because he'll be open if he does.
Yeah. I don't want to freak anyone out, but the world may be ending because Mel Kiper has gotten the first 4 picks correct from his latest mock draft. So
that is definitely cause for concern.
That is cause for concern, although I have a feeling he might not get this next one because he's predicting the Vikings trade up with the Chargers. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers trade back, but if that happens and he actually predicts, Mel Kiper thinks that the Vikings move up and pick J.J. McCarthy. If that happens, then the world may actually truly be ending.
I hear that. I think this is going to be a stick and pick for the Chargers, and I think this is Joe Alt. I think Mr. Harbaugh over there, Jim Harbaugh to be exact, is going to want to run the frick out of the ball. And the best way to run the ball is against top defenses is obviously to have a kick butt offensive line. And there is not a more kick butt. Excuse me, I can't multitask. I'm typing here. There is not a more kick butt offensive lineman than Joe Alt in this draft. This guy is going to be I'm not saying Hall of Famer, but he's going to be an All-Pro, perennial Pro Bowler for somebody as long as he stays healthy. So it's kind of hard to pull up tackle offensive tackle highlights. But the guy is just a stud. He's going to make somebody very, very happy if he ends up going here. A dark horse pick would be another wide receiver. But the longer this goes, the more I think that this trade might actually be happening.
Well, it looks like they're at least fishing for some sort of trade at the very least.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know if they thought that Marvin Harrison would fall to them. I don't know if that's what they thought. They're scrambling for answers there. You never know. Maybe Jim Harbaugh thinks that Justin Herbert doesn't hand the ball off well enough, and they draft J.J. McCarthy, and he just goes from Michigan, Jim Harbaugh's Michigan, to Jim Harbaugh's Los Angeles Chargers. You never know.
I mean, if he was on a worse team that needed a quarterback, I think like 100% he probably would. But yeah,
absolutely.
That would be a crazy pick, though, if the Chargers did pick J.J. McCarthy.
I
just to see.
Yeah, I think that would be
what happen.
I would think that would be one of those picks that kind of wrecks a lot of mock drafts and makes and makes some bettors and DraftKings a lot of money. So, you know, so and that's what this is all about, isn't it? You know, so
yeah, it's all about DraftKings and FanDuel.
Absolutely, absolutely. Prize Picks is the new one, I hear. Prize Picks.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, the new one. What is it? I gotta see if I can find it, because it really threw me. Like, there's so many new ones I think popping up that are just like unique.
Oh really?
Like, one of them was dog themed.
Oh really?
I don't know why.
That's the one that we need to get a sponsor our pod.
Yeah, but I don't really understand. Yeah.
And if anybody's curious, there is a rule on timing out. So if your team does not get the card in prior to their time being expiring, you lose the pick. So
you lose.
So currently, based on my computer, the Chargers have just a little over 1:30 to turn in this pick or to let the league know that there has been a trade.
It looks like they put a pick in, so I guess they weren't able to trade out.
Well, I think the other issue that could be is that there might be a Zoom call going on that is experiencing technical difficulties. I don't know. I don't know.
You never know.
I mean, it's 3:00 over there in Cali right now, so people might be still trying to get in off of work here.
That's true. Huh.
So,
no, I mean, I could see them thinking about trading out just because, like, the Chargers are a good team.
Right.
So I think they're like, we don't need one good player. We'd rather have two okay players, you know?
Yeah.
But,
and this is a deeper draft, so I think you could get some really, I call them needle movers. I think you could trade out and get multiple needle movers. Interesting that nobody is answering the Vikings phone calls, which I'm sure offering 11 and 23 as of yet.
That's true.
So,
because if you were the Chargers, would you accept that trade?
It depends.
Just straight up?
I mean, not straight up. I would want at least another second round pick next year, or a first round pick next year, or 2 firsts this year with a player or something like that for that trade, you know, especially with some really great talent still on the board. If the pick here is not J.J. McCarthy, I will have to say that the fall of J.J. McCarthy would have begun, because there was a lot of people that had him going to New England at 3. So, an interesting question that was in the chat. I don't know if you saw the chat, but somebody one of our probably our most faithful viewer. He goes on his handle at least is CJ Racing, and
Yeah.
he asked, "What is Bo Nix's best fit, and where and when do you think he will go?" I answered the question when I was all by my lonesome, but I'm curious. I'm curious of your opinion. If you're unfamiliar, Bo Nix is the quarterback from the Oregon Ducks. That's correct. So let's see what the pick is. I heard the jingle.
Yeah. Heard the little jingle jangle.
Yeah. I think I would get.
Do you think that like that noise just happens? Does that noise just happen every time?
It does.
Oh. Every time like Joe Goodell is about to speak, he just walks into a room.
Oh my gosh. Well, Joe Alt is the pick. So
yeah, you're right.
I'm 5 for 5 based on, my own saying. So you can't check me on it because I didn't ever write it down. But Joe Alt,
you spoke it.
Yeah, I definitely spoke it into existence. So the Los Angeles Chargers have solidified their left tackle for the foreseeable future by selecting offensive tackle who is just like I said, an absolute mauler, but technically sound. I mean, just everything that you want in an offensive tackle, this guy is. I think he's going to come into the league and be an immediate top half left tackle starter. And for somebody who wants to run the ball and run play action off of that with Justin Herbert back there. And, it's interesting. They kind of let go of all their receivers. Mike Williams is in playing with Aaron Rodgers in the New York Jets. Keenan Allen is now going to be catching balls from Caleb Williams in Chicago. And I guess they have Jordan Palmer still on their team. Like, I don't even remember what other players they have as far as wide receivers go. So I'm sure their next pick will address that. But at this point, it is, I mean, they might not even they might just go goal line every other play and then put a jumbo tight end at wide receiver to help block the one corner that they put on the field to defend them. So,
so on ESPN, they're showing Joe Alt at home. What's your opinion on that? This is off topic, but they invite the top players to the draft and enjoy the festivities. But usually every year, a few of the top prospects just decide to stay at home and spend that time with their family. And I kind of like that. I kind of respect that in a way.
I agree. I absolutely agree. He is, in general, it's one of those things for me that for somebody like Joe Alt, there was no way he was going to be outside the top 10. This guy was getting picked. And this isn't like a Will Levis situation where maybe he would get maybe he would get drafted in the first round. Maybe he would need a hotel room for an extra night. You don't know. Yeah. But I appreciate him valuing his family. The one thing that I kind of wish with offensive linemen, especially a defensive lineman, is to get an appreciation of their size. Roger Goodell is not a small man. And when he has to bear hug somebody and kind of like get on his tippy toes, to hug some of these guys, that's entertaining in and of itself, number one. But number two, we're talking about, seeing this, this big man being engulfed by another big man. And I think I find that entertaining as well. Pause. But
pause.
So that's where we're at on here.
Oh, the Giants have already submitted their pick. They went quick. So does that mean it's a Malik Neighbors pick, maybe?
It could be Malik Neighbors. I think after the press conference that Daniel Jones gave a couple days ago with his buggy eyes going all over the place, they might be creeped out a little bit. So this could be JJ McCarthy. And we'll see.
You never know.
If this is not JJ McCarthy, then the fall of JJ McCarthy will have finally begun officially.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at on
Yes.
there.
Yeah,
so-
well, because I think the next place he could go would maybe be 12 with the Broncos.
yeah.
You know,
and
that'd be really the next team.
I have heard that the Vikings like JJ McCarthy, so there could be a trade up. Not here, obviously,
Yeah.
because the Giants have already submitted their pick.
Oh, I guess that's true.
But
Vikings at 11.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if this is another Will Levis situation. I heard the jingle, so
The jingle, the Goodell jingle.
Yeah, the bell has been rung.
Here we go. Here we go.
And they pick Malik Neighbors, wide receiver for
Like a
LSU.
good neighbors.
Like a good like a good neighbors. Malik is there, I guess.
Malik is there.
Malik is, I guess, gonna be there for the foreseeable future for our boy Danny Jones. So let me again pull this up. Oh my gosh, I'm such a bot. All right. So Malik
Neighbors has the swag.
He does.
And the trag chain on.
Yeah, this is a guy this is your deep ball threat. Now, he can do more than that, but this is a guy that is a specialist for the 50-50 ball, for getting past, sticky man coverage, and a guy that you can line up again all over the formation and basically just tell him to run as fast as he can. And if he's not open, then he's still open because you could just throw it up and he'll go up and get it. The real MVP for the 80-20 ball, that's, for most receivers, the 50-50 ball. So he's was used to Jaden Daniels throwing the ball. It is a plus that he was in the SEC, so he's up against top flight corners out there in the Nick Saban defense. He had to play as well on multiple occasions. So good route runner, physical guy. He has some elusiveness to him, but he's just physically imposing. But he has the speed and separation ability to be a successful person in the league. And he joins Darren Waller, as I think, unless Darren Waller is no longer playing football. He may have retired. I don't remember.
But I heard they got divorced, but that's a bit off topic.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But that's where we're at with that. Thanks again, 6 Edits HG for the edit clips here. Make sure to subscribe to him and check him out. I don't know what type of music he uses, so if he's using music that couldn't be played in your Christian Minecraft server, I apologize. I've only watched just the deals with him. So that's an interesting pick. And that's
the Giants were needing. They've been kind of losing players. Like they lost Saquon Barkley, who was basically their main offensive weapon. I'm trying to think what that wide receiver room looks like.
Yeah,
for the Giants.
Yeah, I don't. It's got.
I'm gonna look it up.
Darius Slayton is their number one guy, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's kind of.
No disrespect, but
yeah, he's a burner. Like he's your deep end post fly comeback guy.
So it looks like they still have Darren Waller. So
okay, I didn't remember if he retired or he was hurt or something like that.
He got injured last year.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they have Jalen Hyatt. I guess.
Oh yeah. That's another speed guy. There's a lot of speed. They're trying to mimic the Miami wide receiver room.
The Legion of Zoom.
The Legion of Zoom. I love it.
Showing the inside of his jacket. It's photos. I don't know photos of what, but
it looks like photos of his.
Gonna be honest, a little bit of a serial killer energy there, but
a little bit. We'll leave it alone. They had
an emotional time.
Yeah, they had a commercial with it was some sort of like deodorant or something like that, and it was like this guy talk singing the whole time, and it was kind of like him narrating what happens. The guy falls off a mountain or a hill or something like that. He's all beat up, and then he gets up, and the song goes something like, "And you were only down for 7 seconds, and you're moving on, but you still smell nice." That sort of. And you were 10 minutes late to meet your friends, but you still smell nice. It's just it was one of those commercials where like you couldn't tell whether you loved it or hated it. But the Titans are on the clock right now, by the way, for anybody who's wondering where we're at.
Well, it looks like they're getting off the clock because they've put in their pick, apparently. So
interesting. But there's
another quick.
Yeah, for sure. But
who?
I don't know. I
was thinking Titans would do offense just generically because they want to probably help, I guess, Will Levis.
Yeah, I suppose.
Get a good foundation, but with the two like main wide receivers that like everyone agreed were the top 2 wide receivers already off the board, and the top tackle off the board, makes it a little bit tricky on where they're going to go.
Yeah, there's a few directions they can go here. I do think their wide receiver room is good. They got DeAndre Hopkins, who they're not paying very much, and then they overpaid Calvin Ridley. So
that's right. Yeah, so they don't need offensive line. I think is still a need they have. But I guess weapons-wise, they're fine.
Yeah, I think they got Tony Pollard now at running back because Derrick Henry is in Baltimore, which nobody's going to want to play that team, by the way.
It's like the first time where like all the like fan fiction of of like the free agency of like imagine Derrick Henry going to the Ravens actually happened.
Exactly.
People talk like, oh, this is like the dream matchup, and hardly it ever happens. But this time it did.
I have been dreaming so much about Chuck's Corafor coming to New England. It has been a dream of mine for years.
Big dream.
Big dreams here. We've always wanted to have
we go into a lucid state every now and then.
Yeah, Taki was somebody that I've always wanted to come to New England. I've liked him since his days back in whatever college he went to.
Yes.
So interesting stuff going on here. I think it's been a relatively chalk draft so far. No really big surprises here. This is the first place where we might see one. This could be Roma Dunze, which is another wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think it's wise for them to go that route, but it could be. Fashanu, I think, is another offensive tackle, which is a really good offensive tackle that they could do. They did get rid of Andre Dillard, who was their left tackle last year. So I think the likelihood is that this is a tackle. It's just a matter of which one, what their preference is.
Yeah.
The other thing that could be is that this is a defensive player. This could be Dallas Turner from Alabama, premier pass rusher, but I think it's still a little rich for him. I would be surprised. I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a top 10 pick that's a defensive player. It could.
Yeah,
it literally could be all 10. Troy Fautanu is the other offensive lineman that's available that I think could be finding a new home in Tennessee. No state tax there, which is on top of his girlfriend whining about the move was part of the reason why.
A jingle.
Yeah. Part of the reason why.
Jingle.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley went there. So let's see what the pick is here.
Yeah.
With the 7th overall
Do they allow
pick. Oh, they took your guy. They took J.C. Latham.
They took my guy.
They took J.C. Latham, right tackle from University of Alabama. So the second offensive lineman off the board is somebody who played right tackle, which is an interesting play there. Usually stuff that high is you're looking at, again, your left tackles and your premier right tackle. So In our mock draft, he fell all the way to what, 32? Or did you end up?
Yeah, I know, which is literally 32.
So
I don't know how.
yeah, but he was projected in most of the draft I saw going high teens, early 20s. So maybe a slight overdraft, but look, if you got a conviction about a guy, you pick him. That's just straight up how it ought to be. So
And from what I've heard, there's like 4 or 5 offensive linemen that are all pretty close in general.
Yeah, after Joe
and then after
Hall,
that it drops down.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it drops down a little bit, but so any of these tackles here are probably going to be good in the league.
I sure hope so, for the sake of Malik Willis, who will eventually get some playing time after Will Levis craps the bed about halfway through the season here.
We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to be at home crying. Yeah, he's going to be at home crying because everything that's good that happens to him is going to happen while he's at home. It's just part of the deal there. JC Latham.
Yeah.
Alabama.
You
know, I didn't know how to put my chat on the screen until today. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I almost.
Yeah, isn't there? It's like a dropout or
so it pops out, but I'm not using a screen record right now. I'm actually using a preloaded video that I exported and put on loop.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then I imported the URL as a plugin to this, and then what I had to do is I had to use what's called a nested seed to get all the audio, and I almost forgot to do that, which would have been crazy. Hi, Mom. Yeah. there's the old Thinking Hound. Make sure to subscribe, by the way, to the Thinking Hound. Some really thought-provoking stuff on his channel. A lot of interesting facts that will get you W's on trivia night. I can tell you that much right now.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So, if you play Family Jeopardy, if you need a litany of $1,000 questions, you can find it on his channel. So, huge shout out to that guy.
Yeah, I haven't put anything out recently, although I've been thinking about it. So,
that's the worst thing that could happen is you start thinking, man. I mean, you're just a thinking hound. You're just a thinking hound.
I know, it's the worst. I'm hounded by thoughts. They won't stop.
Yeah.
I almost made a video about. The problem is it's too dark. It's like, I don't know if this is a great video to make it, but it was about a jockey who actually won a horse race dead.
Oh, wow.
He died in the middle of the horse race.
Like a heart attack?
They don't know exactly when, but yeah, a heart attack. And it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, he crossed the line and he was already dead, but he won. So you know.
So who gets those wins?
He has that dog in him. Probably the owner of the horse.
Probably.
Because that was back in probably like the 30s, I think. So yeah, I don't think jockeys were treated that nicely.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
But yeah, but then I thought about it. It's like, that's I don't know.
It's a little much. It's a little bit
of a weird video, especially for your first video back after a little bit.
Absolutely.
How about this dead guy from 100 years ago?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A little bit of a mood shift.
Yeah, just a little bit. We do have the Atlanta Falcons with their pick.
Yeah.
Interesting situation there, and they got Kirko Chains in town, and they're paying him a buttload of money to throw to Drake London. They got old Bijan Robinson down there. A lot of good pieces. I think the best thing for them to do is to take a tackle here. The other thing they could do, they could go Roma Dunze and pair him with Drake London, which would be quite the duo, if I do say so.
And then have a Bijan on the side.
Yep, got Kyle Pitts out there and Jonnu Smith. You know,
we'll see. They have a few ways to go.
Yeah, for sure.
According to the all great Mel Kiper, they're going to pick Dallas Turner.
I was going to say this is a perfect spot for Dallas Turner to go as well. So it all depends on how they feel about their offensive line and their wide receiver room, in my opinion.
Yeah. Apparently, they ranked last in pass rush last year, so that might be an added incentive for them to pick defense here.
And there's the jingle jangle.
We'll see. The jingle jangle.
Oh my gosh.
What? Okay, there's the twist.
The first surprise of the NFL draft. The Atlanta Falcons, after paying $40 million a year to Kirko Chains, have now picked his successor at number 8 in Michael Penix Jr., who goes before J.J. McCarthy, and the fall of J.J. McCarthy has begun. That's what I'm talking about.
That's crazy.
Now this is pod racing. Let me tell you right now.
Yes.
So Michael Penix Jr., my guy. I have some highlights from him. Okay, this is the most natural thrower in this year's draft. This is a big man who throws from the pocket, but has the ability to run when necessary. Lefty, but much bigger than Tua. He's got the frame, he's got the size. He's a little older. All the other guys that have been drafted as far as the quarterbacks go are either 22 or less. Michael Penix Jr. is 24. So he's a little bit older, which makes this pick even more perplexing in my understanding, because by the time he gets to play, he might be 26, 27 years old. And the biggest question mark for him, and the reason why he wasn't really thought of as a top 5 guy, is that he had several knee injuries, lower body injuries, that have ended his season every year until this past season, in which he absolutely destroyed Texas and then absolutely got destroyed by Michigan. So
that's a crazy pick.
And the other thing too is he was throwing to NFL talent at wide receiver as well all season long. You can't really ding him for that, because he still made play after play after play for this team. But they had a solid offensive line. This is a guy that had everything going for him, and he was able to distribute the ball very, very well. Probably the most accurate thrower in this draft as well. But it's a lot easier to be accurate when you've got pockets the size of the state of Connecticut. So congratulations to this guy. But man, I'm sure Pat McAfee and Bill Belichick have some interesting words to say about that. I can't wait to hear what their opinion is on that front.
That's very fascinating.
That is crazy.
I mean, I am a big proponent of the, draft a rookie quarterback and have him sit for, a year or two. I do think that helps a lot of times. Not every team can do that. But signing Kirk Cousins is kind of a win now move.
I agree.
So it's kind of interesting for them to have a high pick, because ideally you're not going to have the number 8 pick for the next few seasons, right? You're going to hopefully be in the 20s or something. You hope. So to use such a high draft pick on a quarterback that's not going to play for, what wasn't Kirk Cousins signed to a 3-year deal?
I think so. Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
And it is interesting as well that we're talking about a quarterback coming off a leg injury and having his replacement be a quarterback coming off a leg injury. So
yeah, maybe that's why they thought they were similar.
Yeah, I guess
they can learn from each.
Yeah, right. That portion of it I can understand, though. I think Kirk would be a great mentor for Michael Penix. So something that
Kirk Cousins is basically Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. So
yeah,
and he just seems like a good person. So yeah, I understand the mentorship side. It's just interesting that they're kind of building for the future, I guess, instead of getting players for a win now.
So the Bears I've already put in their selection at number 9. here. They go Roma Dunze. Oh man, that wide receiver room is gonna be lit for Caleb Williams. Man, oh man, wow. All right, so Roma Dunze. We've got back-to-back Washington University of Washington players going back-to-back. Quite the interesting move here for the Bears, who have to feel good about their offense after such a interesting season last year.
That's interesting. Okay, the Jets traded their pick, by the way. Oh my
gosh, they're not even going to let me talk.
To the Vikings. To the Vikings.
So the Vikings are trading up one pick.
Which is interesting.
Which usually means that there's competing people trying to trade for that pick, meaning there's probably people trying to trade ahead of the Vikings to get a player.
Yeah.
Most likely JJ McCarthy.
Broncos. Broncos, Raiders maybe.
Yeah, but really quick on Roma Dunze, this guy, this is your route runner. This is a guy that he's got some length. He's not quite as physically imposing as somebody like Malik Neighbors, but he's just got a natural feel. He's shifty. He does break tackles. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He's got a large frame, and he's a guy that has like natural hands. He doesn't. You'll see him make plays with away from his body over and over and over again. He just is a natural catcher of the football, which is not always the case with some of these NFL wide receivers. It almost looks like it hurts them to catch the ball sometimes. But this is a guy that I think is going to do some good things in Chicago. For Caleb Williams, this is a guy that's going to be open a lot for him, especially with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen already in the room. So he has multiple people to learn from, and if you want to talk about loading up an offense, this is it. So congratulations to Roma Dunze. But the Minnesota Vikings go ahead.
That played out about as good as the Bears could have wanted, because they were wanting to load this offense, which makes sense. You draft a young quarterback, you want him to succeed, so just give him all the weapons he has, and Rome dropping that down that not really far, but a lot of mock drafts that I saw had him going maybe a little bit earlier, right before the Bears. So I think the Bears are happy with that pick.
Yeah, they have to be. They really have to be. This is getting interesting.
We'll see. This has to be JJ, right?
I think it has to be. He has fallen a little bit, but I think this is more or less. I mean, he could fall more, and I think it's still. I don't think he's a quote unquote value pick until you get into the late teens. But we're getting into the range where he ought to have gone. Pick 8, I still haven't put in, so that's the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
They took quarterback Michael Penix. Can't spell Michael. Michael Penix Jr.
Be careful how you spell Penix.
Yeah, right. University of Washington. Looks like a wash. All right, and then round 1, pick 9 was the Chicago Bears.
Oh.
And they took wide receiver Rome Odunze from Washington.
Now I noticed that in this draft they're doing what they did last year, where they have the mirror camera. What's your opinion on the mirror camera?
What's that?
Where they have the players walk up to the mirror, put on the hat, and then walk through the hall?
I think they're trying to make it a tradition. It's about as it's about as important and about as inspiring as the lottery system in the NBA draft. But we'll leave that alone for now. I've got a viewer that just texted me, which is hilarious. He says, I don't understand what the Falcons are doing. And I said, I don't either. So the Jets trading out here is interesting. Mike,
I guess we didn't see what the deal of the trade was.
That's what I'm curious of. I'm surely it was not both 23 and 11.
No, there'd be no way
for just one spot.
Unless it was it'd have to have been very competitive.
Yeah.
For that too. Let's see what Rappaport has to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see if I can find him. Come on. Ian Rappaport. Jets get pick 11, 129, and 157 overall. And and for the 10th pick and the 203rd pick. So
they got, it sounds like they gave up 2 6th-round picks.
That'd probably be right for a 7th, first and 2 6th, and a 1st and a 7th.
I gotta say that is some small compensation. So I wonder.
I mean, for the Jets, they're not really losing anything if this is JJ McCarthy.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that probably means there wasn't a bidding war as much, like too much of a bidding war, anyways.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't bid very much on JJ McCarthy myself. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'll give it to him. He's probably got the best hair in the draft. So he probably spent as much time working out today as he did doing his hair. So
yeah, it's all important.
Yeah, so the entire Vikings organization is standing according to the what I'm watching here.
Okay.
My buddy who's a Atlanta Falcons fan says, and why do you spend 180 million on a quarterback just to take one in the first round, especially when you could have used a pass rusher? I couldn't agree more. If you're in a win now situation, I really think they ought to have taken a player for today. This is kind of, to me, this is akin to the Jordan Love pick a handful of years ago. Now that worked out way better, and that was pick like 24 or something like that. We're talking pick 12 or 10, right? So,
well, for the Falcons,
9 actually, right?
Pick 8.
Oh my
8. Like, like that's for me. That's kind of what's interesting. It's such a high pick.
I mean, even though I wouldn't have necessarily loved the fit of Brock Bowers, but the idea of having Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kirk Cousins, Brock Bowers, and Kyle Pitts all on the same team is kind of a scary thought.
Yeah.
Dallas Turner would immediately become the best defensive player on their roster. They could have even used help at cornerback, but we're well on our way to having an all-offense top 10. So we are moving along quite well.
Okay, so Goodell's up there.
It looks like we have our first guest appearance here as well, where
looks like a military family, I'm assuming.
Yeah, TAPS, I believe, is a military organization. There's the Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle, who is it?
A little bit of delay because they got to let the 10-year-old call the pick.
Throwing shade on the 10-year-old.
we're all about equality here on the No Punt Intended Sportscast.
Equally.
Yeah. All right, let's see who we got here.
We get say a name other than JJ McCarthy. I dare you.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, who could have guessed?
There he goes. The fall has stopped. And if he would have fallen anymore, he would have broken his perfect nose. But JJ McCarthy is now a Minnesota Viking. My mother
Okay, huh.
has come in and said she's really excited about that pick. I'm excited
Yeah.
that he didn't go to New England. That's why I'm excited about this pick. But
That-
I don't think I do.
There's some Viking fans doing skull.
Heck yeah! I actually was unable to find a JJ McCarthy highlight reel on by 6 Edits HD. I wanted to keep the uh
You're just not able to find one at all. They're like, there just isn't any.
yeah, no, there was there was was there
They're
one?
just all shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. I could get away with doing a shorts though. I think I just couldn't get away with doing. Let's see who's done it. I've got a couple. Oh, I have one right here.
Although it
so
looks like the Jets have already put in their pick.
Oh my goodness!
Which I mean,
which is it's probably Brock Bowers.
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna hate that for New England because that means we got to play Aaron Rodgers with Brock Bowers, with Mike Williams, with insert player here, but that's an interesting pick. Excuse me, for sure.
Yeah.
But I found some tape.
What if the Jets just do what the Green Bay Packers did and just refuse to pick offensive weapons for Aaron Rodgers?
Dallas Turner Dallas Turner next to Quentin
like,
Williams would be quite the combo as well. But let me very briefly thank you to Prince Highlights for the compilation here. Actually, I did have this up and I just forgot to. I think I accidentally X'd out of it. But JJ McCarthy is the quarterback for the national champion Michigan Wolf, who is a little bit. He's a good prospect. This is a guy that has a lot of room to grow. But the team was not catered to him. A lot of these top quarterbacks have teams that catered to the quarterback because the quarterback they thought was their best player. But that's not how the Michigan Wolverines operated. Jim Harbaugh, was the head coach. So they based their offense off of play action, a lot of running the ball. And J.J. McCarthy had a lot of weapons at his disposal, Roman Wilson being the biggest of those. There's also Blake Corum, who is probably the best running back in this draft, that he could always check down to. He's another Alex Smith type, not really a runner, but can run and will run when necessary. Interesting that he struggled both in his pro day and in the combine to hit the outside to his left. And that was something that showed up on tape to my understanding as well. And another reason why I didn't want him to come to New England. I think the Vikings are getting their guy that's ready now. That is the one thing about JJ McCarthy. I do feel he's, other than I'd say Michael Penix or Bo Nix, probably the most pro-ready guy of the second tier guys. The guy's basically not Caleb Williams. He's going to start right away, most likely for the Vikings, and he's got plenty of weapons at his disposal there. Now I think the Vikings next should be looking for a running back because Alexander Madison didn't do the job last year, in my opinion. But the Jets are on the board, and just congratulations to JJ McCarthy. You're not completely Will Levis, but thank you for giving us a little bit of entertainment to make that work there for you.
Okay.
All right.
The jingles. See how Jet fans get disappointed. Oh,
they went. They went tackle. They went tackle. Interesting. Okay, so this is Fashanu, right? Yep. This is Fashanu. Yep. This is Penn State. This was the Penn State offensive tackle that I kept referencing that I thought was Joe Alt in our mock draft. So this is probably the consensus number 2 tackle for the most part. But again, like you said, like Hound said earlier, after Joe Alt, the next 4 or 5 guys are really kind of tight. It's just kind of what your fancy is, whether you like the refined guy or the nasty guy or the guy that's got a little bit of both. Fashanu is a big guy. Penn State's known for having fantastic offensive linemen, so this is a good pick to protect Aaron Rodgers, even though he could have had the best offensive line in the league last year and still would have gotten hurt by that notorious turf monster that is MetLife Stadium's turf. So good stuff.
But probably the smart choice probably for the Jets, like the smart choice, you know.
Yeah,
40-year-old quarterback. Try to keep him upright.
Yeah, I can't be mad at the pick if I'm a Jets fan. Although I am breathing a sigh of relief as a new, I am breathing a sigh of relief that Brock Bowers is not going to be a Jet. So,
well, he's probably going to go to like the Bills or something.
Oh gosh, please no.
They just draft back-to-back first-round tight ends.
All right, so while I'm doing this, do you mind looking into we have a question regarding who the Dolphins might take. I want to make sure we get this question in before they actually do pick.
Ooh.
Who do you think the Dolphins, where the Dolphins might go as far as picks go? I believe they picked 21. So if not, it's somewhere around there. So early 20s.
It's 21.
Yeah. So
I mean, they've got to pick defense. Like, I feel if you're them, like, let's be practical. That's what was losing you a decent amount of games. No one was complaining about your offense. Try to shore up and get some defensive players. And there's a variety that they could go with. Jared Verse, Latu.
Yeah.
Latu, if he if he goes there. It depends on who's available.
Right.
But if you're them, I feel like they can just kind of go with the best available defensive player, almost, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I do think they lost Xavier Howard as well. So they could use some back end help as well. So there's some, and that's kind of the prime area for getting some solid corners and safeties available in this year's draft.
Nate Wiggins,
yeah,
maybe.
Somebody. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know the corners all that well this year. I was on them last year, but
there's some fun names in the draft this year.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Chop Robinson.
Yeah.
Chop Robinson.
Yeah,
that's a fun name.
Yeah, he's Georgia. I think he's from Georgia. I might be wrong on that. JJ
Penn
McCarthy.
State.
Penn State.
There was a guy named Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, he's a defensive back. I do know that name.
Yeah, that's a fun name too.
Absolutely. All right, round 1, pick 11, New York Jets.
So if the Broncos don't pick a quarterback here, does Bo Nix fall?
I think, but
kind of.
My thing is, Bo Nix could go. He was probably the most. Him and Penix had the most range.
He was the most likely.
Yeah, have the most range. They could go as high as 15, or in Michael Penix's case, 9, or 8.
Yeah.
And then fall as far as like the second round for Bo Nix.
Yeah,
but we'll have to see.
Because I'm trying to remember last year how the quarterback class went. If I remember right, there was a bunch early and then it kind of settled out.
Yes.
Because every now and then we see a quarterback go to the very end of the round and then somebody trades in from the second round just so they get that 5th-year option if that's important to them.
Right.
So that's possible. But
yeah, this is also a spot that you could see Brock Bowers go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean Brock Bowers is going to be picked at any point. Which is interesting because prior to this process, I think most people had him as the first. I'd say after the quarterbacks, it would have been him. After Joe Alt and Marvin Harrison Jr. So, but after the process started, people started looking into some of the other receivers involved. It's kind of he's one of those things where he's kind of old news, if that makes sense. Brock Bowers' camp has been very, very quiet. You know, I think everybody knows he's the bona fide best tight end in this draft. He's probably the only tight end going to be drafted in the first round. Not a lot of great tight ends behind him. Sanders from Texas is a good tight end available, but he's more of a high second round is kind of where most people have him going. I mean, he could sneak into the back end of the first round, but there's just so many good tackles and wide receivers available in this draft that it's hard to see that sort of thing. And we've yet to have yet to see a defensive player go.
That's
so
true.
This could be Dallas Turner. This could be Dallas Turner. I will be honest though, if I'm the Broncos, I would be considering a trade down if I could get it. I don't know if it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. People need to watch the stream instead of text me. I swear. I'm getting everybody to text me, but nobody's coming into the chat. But
it's like a radio. It's like a radio show.
Yeah.
Like text to our text line.
Yeah. Right. I'm not giving my phone number out. The Broncos pick is in. The jingle jangle has happened, and we got. Oh my gosh!
Hey,
they
did.
He goes. Bo Nix is the next starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. We have another upset alert. Wow.
Well, like, here's the thing: is like everyone knew that that's what the Broncos needed, right? Because they have no one. But again, Bo Nix that's just high.
I agree. But this is your high floor guy. This is your high floor guy. You know, this is the guy. Again, kind of. I said it prior to. I said it prior to you kind of getting on here. I felt like Bo Nix was your Mac Jones of this draft, kind of your high floor guy without significant upside. Believe it or not, I think Mac Jones had better upside coming out than this guy did. But I do think the floor is higher with Bo Nix than it was with Mac Jones. Again, there's a lot of great receivers that he was throwing to. You got Troy Franklin. I forget the name of the other guy. That's going to be a drafted player here this year. And then a guy who's going to be an absolute stud, probably a top 15 guy next year. But this is your guy that doesn't have the great arm. He's got a good enough arm. This is the guy that doesn't have the outstanding legs, but will move around a little bit when he needs to. But he just is the guy that takes the open man. You know, he goes to the check down. He's about as anti-Josh Allen as you could possibly get. And he's not a big guy either. I think he's 6'1". They might have inflated him up to 6'2". But even looking at him on film, you just know he's not the tallest guy. It's not that he isn't well built, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if he had issues after getting hit and knocked around a few times. But man,
you know, it'll be fascinating to see Sean Payton with a young quarterback. Haven't really seen that for a long time. You know, an actual top.
Maybe he sees some
top prospect.
Yeah, a little undersized guy that just happens to take what's given to him, and you know that doesn't sound like Drew Brees at all. So
yeah,
maybe that's what Sean Payton sees. He's being aggressive here. The fact that he didn't trade up for a guy. I don't know if he's settling for Bo Nix. I don't know if he was kind of hoping that Penix would fall. But congratulations to Bo Nix being drafted way higher than anybody expected. He just made
quarterbacks.
Go ahead.
6 quarterbacks and 12 picks is insane.
Yeah, but it bodes well for your prediction. Then what was it? What was it? Only 4 receivers getting drafted.
4,
5?
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5. Maybe it's less than 5, so it'd be 4, right? I don't
Interesting.
think. It has to be 4.
Yeah.
It's 4 or less. 5 would be too normal.
Yeah, I hear that.
Oh, that's Raiders pick is in.
I'll let this play. And there he goes. Brock Bowers is a Las Vegas Raider. He goes to the Raiders.
That means we have to defend him.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. The Raiders have no one who's really throwing the football. But
right now they don't. Right now they don't.
Now.
But I will say that is interesting that they went high picks on tight ends 2 years in a row. They drafted Michael Mayer last year,
right?
And then they drafted Brock Bowers this year. So they've got a dual threat tight ends to pair with Devontae Adams, and then Josh Jacobs is in the Packers. He's with the Packers now. So who?
Yeah.
I think they picked up. I don't remember.
I don't know if they picked up any really big name.
After thinking about it, I think Aaron Jones went to the Vikings. By the way, so
that's.
I think that. So what I said about them needing a running back. The need isn't super urgent, but Aaron Jones doesn't have a super great record for injury wise. So here's hoping that he stays healthy. But
it looks like the Raiders running back they got was Alexander Madison.
Oh, really?
So your favorite guy from Minnesota.
Which is interesting. It's funny. I actually really liked Madison as the backup. I drafted him in fantasy every year because Dalvin Cook was going to go down and Alexander Madison was going to get 20 touches a game when that guy was down. So that's an interesting situation for sure. I don't love the pick, if I'm going to be honest with you, for the Raiders. I think I'm not saying they should have reached for a quarterback or something like that. Because the next guy that makes any sense is Spencer Rattler, but he's projected to be a late second round, like third round.
To be honest, I don't know what the Raiders' offensive line looks like, but that could have been an option here.
I agree,
especially if you're going with their top quarterback right now is probably Gardner Minshew.
Yes.
So I feel like if you give Gardner Minshew time, he could be okay.
Right.
But
he is used to running for his life, though. So I maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's true. Like he can adapt, right? But I think like he's Gardner Minshew's been a quarterback who's just had to run around all the time. So it'd be interesting to see him with actual time to throw. They also have Aiden O'Connell.
That's right.
Which we'll see what they do with.
He played okay. Yeah, last year. So
yeah, okay, considering the situation he was put in,
for sure. And everybody, the guy that's their head coach now, Alexander Pierce. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to really, really like him. So, Denver Broncos. They take Bo Nix, quarterback. Penn State, Oregon, excuse me.
We'll see who the Saints pick. They're taking some time here.
Yeah,
I don't know if that means that they're looking to trade back or if there's just a few options they could go with.
Yeah, I mean, every defensive player is still on the board. So if you need a defense,
they have every defense.
So they
and offensive line, there's still a few good tackles.
Absolutely. Most of people expect the run of tackles to start in the late teens, early 20s. So we'll see what happens with that. Pick 13, Las Vegas Raiders. Select the, gosh almighty. Brock Bowers,
They
tight end.
picked-
What'd you say?
Oh, you said they picked Gosh Almighty. It's like they picked the Gosh Almighty.
They picked Gosh Almighty,
but-
running back, Notre Dame.
That does sound like a name, though.
That sounds. Gosh Almighty is the guy that nobody heard of from Liberty. Like that's
Yeah.
you got Pup Douglas, Malik Willis, and then Gosh Almighty.
That's actually be a cool name.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been thinking about doing once I have the equipment for it, I was thinking about doing a spin on some of the Madden YouTubers, and I was gonna make a create a player, and I was wondering what direction I would go as far as the name. I think I found it. Gosh Almighty.
Gosh Almighty. Yeah, the Saints are taking you a little bit. They're down to about 2 minutes.
Yeah,
left.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Man, why did the Panthers have to trade away their picks? Because it makes the draft so much less interesting. The Panthers could have been somebody and picked at 15 to break up the monotony of having to wait until pick 32, which will end up getting traded out anyways. So
yes, we all know how this is gonna work.
I mean, you're literally the Patriots. You got the best quarterback in the league, a top 3 tight end, and you get players that don't work on other teams to come to your team and work out, and you win Super Bowls playing defense.
Yep.
I'm gonna step away from.
And then we have.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Step away.
Yeah, I was gonna step away for just a second. And my throat is getting raspy.
Mine is too.
My throat is hurting, so I went and got Dr. Pepper. That makes sense. Heck yeah. Sounds like he stepped away for just a second as well, but it looks to me like the pick is in for the Saints, and Mel Kiper is getting old. Holy crap.
Yeah. It's Booger.
Yeah.
Getting, up there too.
Yeah, Booger's out there looking like a booger. I'll tell you that much right now. With that, I mean,
Huh.
did he play for the UF with those colors? I mean, what is he doing there? I don't know. Is he a Bears fan? I don't know. All I know is that he lost Jason Witten a job because Jason Witten spent all of his time not going over his own material but correcting Boogers. So, my opinion of Booger McFarland is not high, to say the least. What's interesting to me, last year, there was so much less certainty about where New England could go as far as the pick goes. They had 14 or 13 or something, like 15 maybe, and then they traded down to 17, and then took Gonzalez, who I thought was going to be taken in the top 5. So the Saints have taken another offensive tackle goes. And we lost Hound to a thunderstorm. Excuse me for just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry I couldn't say bye to Mr. Hound, but his internet just went out. So, quick analysis here. I think this is another one of those. They just took the best player available for them. Definitely a shortage of good tackle play across the league. Very few offensive lines have two bookends on both sides. I think the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles, and when they're healthy, last year's Dallas Cowboys were probably the top 3 offensive lines in the league. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to be looking for tackle help this year now that they got rid of Tyron Smith. But this is another guy who solid, kind of a bruiser. I feel like it's kind of the same thing with a lot of these guys, but I'm trying to remember. Hey, he's back in it.
Well, I'm on hotspot right now.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Yeah, there's a thunderstorm going on, so
no worries. I will say, this is another, I think, just one of those things where there's a shortage of tackles in the NFL. Very few teams have 2 really good tackles on their team. So it's no surprise to me that these teams are trying to take advantage of the high volume of really solid tackles in this year's draft. So I think they'll continue.
Yeah.
Those guys will continue to come off the board. I was trying to see where he was from. I don't remember Bauga, or I don't remember.
Bauga?
Something like that. I don't remember how to say his
Oregon
name.
State.
Oregon State. Okay.
So.
That's why I didn't know. It was not a top flight school here. So New Orleans Saints with
still no defensive players picked.
Very interesting. The Dallas Turner fall is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm trying to think. I can only have one more wide receiver picked for the rest of the round for my my pick for my bold prediction to come true, which I have a feeling it's not going to happen. But it looks like all the tackles that are, kind of in that upper echelon are going to go. So
it definitely looks that way.
Does
that guy's name end with a U or an A?
I think it's an A.
Okay.
Yeah, A. Fuaga.
Fuag. Thank you very much. And you said Oregon State.
Yes.
Another pure burner in Brian Thomas is still available, which I think would be a nice compliment to Michael Pittman. But I don't know what the MO of the Alex Richardson offense would look like. We didn't get to see very much of it last year because he couldn't stay healthy for a game.
Yeah.
But
who
a
lot of Colts pick here.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I think this could be another tackle. This could be defense. They might be just in best player available mode.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible they go defensive backfield. They could go Dallas Turner. They could go linebacker. They could go all over the place. So if I was to put my money on something, I think this is Dallas Turner. But this also could be an offensive lineman to help protect Alex Richardson.
Yeah.
I was mentioning before that my stress level going into the draft was actually way more last year because I knew more number 1 and number 2. I had no clue what direction New England would go. you know. And all the
Yeah.
players I wanted I thought were not going to be available. So the fact that they got Christian Gonzalez, which I thought was going to be a top 5 pick, was fantastic. But
Yeah.
you know, I was just concerned that they were going to screw the pooch and outthink themselves and not take Drake May. And the fact that they
Yeah.
did was almost like, well, we kind of all saw it coming. We didn't see Christian Gonzalez coming. So
I mean, so far, been a decently predictable draft.
Yeah.
Like in general.
Yeah, I think the odds people made the most money off the Michael Penix pick, and then probably
that threw it.
Yeah. The Bo Nix pick, some people probably had that. I sure did it. I just didn't think Bo Nix was, you know, I didn't think he was really going to be drafted until after pick 15, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good reason why he shouldn't have been, but, you know, when you're the Broncos and who's their quarterbacks?
They had Jarrett Stidham.
And they pulled somebody in, but who?
Zach Wilson. They just
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they just traded for Zach Wilson.
That's right.
So
Wilson for Wilson.
Yeah.
They lost to Wilson, gained to Wilson.
There's the jingle.
You know, when you have Zach Wilson staring at you as your future, it makes you do crazy things.
I suppose they need to give him number 3 so that they don't have to change the jerseys from last year.
Yeah, really though.
Latu. First defensive player off the board.
Not Dallas Turner.
Not Dallas Turner, which in and of itself is a little interesting. But I think this is, again, just kind of a whoever you had as your best player on your board, that's where you go. This is a fantastic edge guy. Him and Dallas Turner were the front runners for the best defensive player in this draft. I think most people had Dallas Turner ahead of him, but you know, I think it's Jim Irsay. That's the Colts GM or owner. I always get them mixed up.
Yeah,
he's an aggressive guy.
He might be both.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's an aggressive guy, and he kind of does things slightly off the beaten path sometimes. He goes for the sexy pick, and this is definitely in that. Excuse me. This is definitely in that mold of that. Just difference maker, pass rusher. I like this for them. I think they'll be kicking themselves if Dallas Turner ends up to being a perennial Pro Bowler, and this guy is just really good. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
Sometimes it's a scheme thing. Sometimes they think that the one player actually fits their scheme better, despite the other player maybe being a better all player, which is how New England won so many Super Bowls. Was taking players that fit a role on the team rather than just collecting talent, building a team rather than collecting talent. So we'll see how. You know, I don't think Jim Irsay or anybody else is on the chopping block over there right now. But
I mean, if the Colts are screwed because they got rid of Jeff Saturday, so you know,
that
all downhill from there.
Yeah, that doesn't help them for sure.
I kind of like Jeff Saturday just for the fun of it.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if he would have been good or not. You know, I don't know, but
I don't think he's done coaching.
Like
I don't think he's done coaching. He'll be coaching somewhere.
We'll see. Yeah. I think so. He kind of got put in a bad spot. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know how you add a new head coach in the middle of the season and then expect him to do, you know.
Right.
So, kind of again, Jim Irsay doing strange things.
He's got to have a magic 8 ball that actually is a magic 9 ball. You know what I'm saying? He's got the extra thing, you know, where it's like, you know, there's it says not for certain, most definitely. Then one of them says follow your heart or do something crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And
it's just all do something crazy, and that's the only thing that pops up.
choose violence. You know,
he woke up and chose violence.
I seen something.
Yeah, no,
I seen something today making fun of like the inspirational workout TikToks and Instagram
Yeah.
reels and that sort of thing. And it was like the
Mhm.
behind the scenes, like the guy sets it up and then he starts just doing push-ups like in like a snowstorm or something like that.
Yeah.
And the motivational quote was something along the lines of, when I wake up, I wake up. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm getting up because I'm awake. And when I'm awake, that means I woke up. You feel me? and,
Yeah.
and then the person who was watching the video said something. That person woke up and chose to wake up.
Woke up, got up.
You gotta love
Huh.
it. Gotta love it. I don't think we're gonna be able to hold out to your pick, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be able to hold out. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, my pick may be tomorrow.
Here's hoping. We might have to do that in faith. We might have to
Yeah.
do that in faith. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I got
50-50 shot.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 80-20.
Yeah.
So we had 2 minutes to 10 here. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. I forgot you're different time zone than me.
A little bit. Yeah. No, where
So-
you're over in Kansas. Where what time you got
so
there?
only 9.
Oh, okay. You're only an hour
So
behind.
it's only an hour difference. So it's not too terribly bad, but you know, when
How
you
close are
get
you
these hours,
to the next
to the next not really close, because I think eastern time zone is in Kentucky and Tennessee, and then, which isn't close, and then
'Cause
the mountain time is in Colorado
Okay.
and Wyoming and stuff. So, you know,
All right. And
pretty
then you got Pacific
center
time,
and central time.
I suppose. Yeah, that's a weird deal to have the line where it is then, because there's a lot of space in between the mountain time and the central time is really wide, is what I'm trying to say. It
Yeah.
seems like.
A lot of the Midwest is pretty central, and Texas, and yeah,
Interesting. Because
mountain time is kind of narrow.
yeah,
It's kind of, and so specific, I guess, since it's on the coast.
it's,
But
it's just Idaho.
there's a lot more people. Yeah, it's just Idaho's
Well,
mountain
they
time.
got
That's it.
Pacific time on the West Coast.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So so in between Colorado and the edge of California is 2 whole time zones. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
That's interesting.
Where the Pacific time zone starts.
I'm looking this up.
Might just be the California line. Might actually just be the Pacific time zone.
Oh, it's a little bit. Yeah, so you're pretty close to the Central Mountain one, because the Central and Mountain one actually cuts off on the very east part of Kansas.
That's right. It
yeah.
does change right before Colorado. But
Yeah.
basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it does, like, there's like a like weird like jet out into Kansas for some reason.
Right.
Don't know why. But yeah, time zones are weird.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, especially if you live in like near a time zone. That would just be a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm putting it up on my screen right now so you can see. So for the viewers here, so
Yeah.
if you're ever curious where the cutoff is, it looks like it follows the state line for the most part. Alabama. Then it cuts Tennessee about in half, Kentucky about in half, then follows the Illinois line,
Yeah.
and then it follows Texas, and then it cuts right into cuts a corner with Kansas, and then works its way
Yeah.
up.
Interesting.
Interesting.
It's just interesting.
Yeah.
I have an uncle who lives in Tennessee, and he lives in a town where on one side of the town is one time zone and the other side's another time zone.
That's got to be frustrating.
It's like that has to be awful for coordinating anything.
That's a good excuse to be an hour late to a date, though.
Really though, yeah.
That's
or
that's
an hour
funny.
early. Like, oh.
I didn't get to answer the question we had regarding um what's it called? Uh the Dolphins. I think again,
Yeah.
similar to you, if you're not going offensive line, you got to go defense. I think they go. I think they go defensive back, whether it's safety or corner. I think corner is more pressing of a need than anything else they have on that defense. Although you can never have too many pass rushers.
Yeah. And they just had a bunch of injuries
Yeah,
last year.
for sure, especially
So,
on the offensive line. So,
yeah.
and they lost their center and their left guard, I think. I know their left guard went to Carolina, and I don't remember where their center went. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so they could use some help. No guards have been taken, which is not surprising to me. I think this is a mostly tackle heavy draft, but there's some good guards available here. The Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. Their pick is in, and it looks like they're having some military people call the pick.
Okie dokie.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm not watching it with sound, so the sound that I do hear is from the other room, and I think it's a
Yeah.
little ahead of my computer. So
Hope I just heard a crowd cheer or something.
no, they rep the 12th man, which yeah.
Yeah.
So I do like the light show. I there is a ton of people there, by the way. If you're, I don't know
Yeah.
how many of you people
I had it up.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
absolutely packed.
Detroit showed up.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for them. Detroit has become relevant, and they I found out today they re-signed Amon-Ra St. Brown to a 4-year deal. So their best
Yeah, they give
offensive
him a
weapon
lot.
is going to be around for a while. And another defensive player not named Dallas Turner. Is it Byron? Yes, Byron Murphy from
Oh, wow.
Texas, going to
Wow.
the Seattle Seahawks, who needed some help on defense. So I
Yeah.
definitely understand the pick here. I think this is one of those picks that again is kind of best available on your board based on what your needs are. Best defensive tackle in this draft. I don't remember who they have on their defensive front, which probably means they don't have anybody very good right now.
Yeah.
So they probably needed to add to that. Probably a pick that should have been much sooner. I'm starting to wonder if they just read the card wrong on the Atlanta Falcons pick, and it was actually Dallas Turner. And
Yeah, they're like, wait.
and or somebody forgot. Something's up here.
It's like the you ever watch the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yes, I have.
Right? It's like the whole like, oh, you don't pick him, everyone just doesn't pick the guy, and it just drops because everyone's like, oh, something must be wrong. So
The Minnesota Vikings have traded up from pick 23 to pick 17, so 2 trade ups, not
by the
packaged
Vikings.
by the Vikings. Interesting. So instead of packaging their picks and moving up way high to try to draft a quarterback, they waited and went ahead by 1 pick. Only gave up, I think, 2 6th-round picks and got a 7th back to pick 1 pick ahead and grab JJ McCarthy.
This has to be for Dallas Turner.
I would imagine. I don't see.
Like none of these other players,
They don't move
would
you.
really warrant. They wouldn't warrant you to move up. You might as well just stick in your spot. But Dallas Turner is available this late. They're probably thinking might as well.
I think this is a good move for them if that's what it is. They just lost to Neil Hunter. They do have some pieces on the defense that but Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator over there who loves him some pass rush. And wants to be aggressive and blitz the heck out of these teams and wants to put pressure on them, play offense on defense. So let's see.
Okay, this is kind of funny. So for the Jets Vikings trade, they swapped the first round picks, and then I believe the Jets gave a 7th or something like that and I guess it actually ended up being a 4th and a 5th rounder apparently, but they must have been late 4th and 5th rounders, from what I've read. But for this trade, the Vikings got the first round pick, right? The 17th pick.
Well,
so they swapped the firsts.
I'm confused because the Vikings pick is in, and it just showed the Jacksonville Jaguars selection. So,
the graphics guy.
It is Dallas Turner. It is Dallas Turner going to the Minnesota Vikings. What was the compensation? Can you repeat that? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so they they traded first round picks, right? 6 spots up. And then the Vikings gave the Jags a 2024 5th rounder and then a 2025 3rd and 4th rounder.
Interesting. So I think the Jags got a decent amount more than the Jets, which to be fair, the Jets only moved back one. Yeah, so it was a 6-spot move up, so I think that's a little bit more, but I mean, they're getting themselves a blue chip player. I mean, I don't think it's quite as good as the guy from last year. I'm blanking on his name. That the Texans got up. Will Anderson, is that his name?
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, so I don't think this guy is quite that good, but he's definitely more along the lines of what you're looking for in a pass rusher, a difference maker for sure. So, and I do have highlights for him. So once I type this in, we'll watch a little bit of highlights here. Thanks to, I think this is still thanks to, no, this is thanks to Prince highlights. Excuse me.
Ooh. I almost thought there was another trade because I saw that the Bengals were up, but then I remember that they did awful last year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the Bengals.
Remember when Joe Browning was like the face of the franchise for like 3 weeks, and then they, started
as he should be.
Yeah. I hear that. So at least one more time, we're gonna do a ghost pumpkin soup for the background music here. But finally, some defensive highlights here. We got a guy that played in the SEC against the top competition in football here, college football, I should say, and a guy that's got a litany of pass rush moves. Guy with great instincts, goes for the ball. Power to speed, speed to power, finesse, strength. Stays upright, can get upfield when he needs to. Typically an outside guy, but I feel like he's somebody that's big enough you could kind of move around, have him line up over the ball if you need to. But he's going to definitely be living on the edge here, kind of your Matt Judon-esque type player. But this is a guy that played on one of the best defenses in the country. He's going to be technically sound after learning under Nick Saban and his staff for the time that he was in college. Gotta love the pick for the Vikings here. I think this is a good move for them. I don't know. They didn't give up any top assets here to do what they did, and they basically replaced the pick that they got from trading. What's his face? Daniil Hunter. And got his replacement with the pick they got. So,
yeah. No, I think a good draft for the Vikings.
I agree.
They got a quarterback. They were going for a quarterback, and they got the one that they wanted. Or I'm pretty sure they got the one that they wanted. It seemed like that was kind of most mock drafts were thinking they were interested in.
Right.
And then, got Dallas Turner, who I don't think anyone was expecting them to get. So you can't complain.
Yeah, I realized I hadn't I've been playing his highlights and watching them myself, and I didn't put it on the screen.
Now I see it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is
You're hogging all those highlights yourself, eh?
maybe that'll keep me from getting copyright straight for showing some of this stuff. But you know, definitely sub to these guys that I've spent some time showing off here.
Looking
So
to instantly upgrade your Mother's Day gift from typical to
yeah,
We're
don't
still
forget
in their
Mother's Day.
content.
Don't forget Mother's Day, ladies and gentlemen.
We're good. Yeah.
That's good stuff. And I honestly think this is. I had one other guy I had highlights for, but I don't think he may not even get picked in this round, to be honest with you. So I think this is actually a good place to kind of wind down here. So I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy work schedule to join me here today. I'm sorry that LB couldn't make it today, guys. I know he had I'm sure he had a draft party. I had a draft party, but we did it right before.
Before the draft.
Yeah, we did it. We did. It was a pre-draft party.
Yeah.
Kind of like it was like tailgating, but at the house.
Yeah, you know.
So, but
no, I quit my job just to be here.
Yeah.
So this.
We'll see about the rest of our mock drafts over the next couple of days. If the Kansas City Chiefs pick tonight, I'll do a little post about what I think and what Hound thinks about that pick. And I'm sure LB will give his opinion in due time. But for now, I just want to special shout out to Hyper Potions, Miss Masterpiece, Sick Edits HD, and Prince Highlights for the music, the highlight edits, and Hound for the background, the backdrop, and obviously the comedy commentary, and just overall magnetic personality that he always brings. So
And shout out to DraftKings
Yeah.
for
yeah, if I you know what, how about a free sponsorship plug for whoever you want. You said DraftKings. I'm gonna go Chick-fil-A. Thank you, Chick-fil-A, for always providing consistent chicken, pre-blessed and ready to go every time, and blessing us with the best condiment in the world in Chick-fil-A sauce. Thanks for joining us, guys. I appreciate those who stopped in even for a few minutes, and the questions that were asked. If you want us to do any more questions or anything like that, go ahead and put a comment. This stream will be put up on the channel and will be put in the Sportscast playlist, so you can still watch it. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out with us for a little bit. And with that, have a blessed evening.